Hello everyone, I am Fanny and this is my teaching video for Coursera's Teach English Now specialization. This is particularly for the edited reading, writing, and grammar lessons. So I hope that you enjoy watching. Thank you. Alright, I'm really happy that all of you are doing great today, and the first thing that I would like you to do is that because I would like to know how many of you love to go to art museums or visit art museums, and for those who do, I would also like to know which museums have you visited already. And aside from that, I'd also like to know what you know about ukiyo-e and the Impressionists. So, having these thoughts in my mind, I'd like you to visit this Mentimeter link and try to answer the questions that are posted in there for me to find out those things that I've mentioned. Alright, so I'll be giving you 3 minutes to answer those questions. So kindly visit the link that I provided you, the Mentimeter link. Alright? Okay, now that I have the results in the Mentimeter quiz that I gave you, so first I asked you who among you or do you like to go to art museums and which museums have you visited. So I found out that there are 20 of you who love to go to art museums, and the museums that you have visited are more in Shizuoka. There's one that's I think there were 3 who have visited Shizuoka Prefectural Museum of Art, and there's also the Modern Art Museum of Shizuoka. Alright, so thank you very much for your answers to the first 2 questions. And for the third question, or the thing that I'd ask you, if what you know about ukiyo-e. So many of you said that it's a Japanese art, okay? And then there were also some who said that there's a word that is very common, woodblock, and then there's also prints, and there's one who said that female beauties. Okay, so these things are really interesting. Okay, so we will find out that later. Okay, now, and the last thing that I asked you is for you to share what you know about the Impressionists. So there's some, I think there were 10 who said that French painters, yes, French painters, and there's also some who said that painting. So they're both related, French painters and painting. So we will know today, we will know more about these things, particularly ukiyo-e and the Impressionists, because that's number one in our objectives for the day. So we are going to read the essay ukiyo-e and the Impressionists, and then after answering, after reading, or while reading actually, you're going to answer comprehensions about the essay, and lastly we are going to write an essay that compare and contrast. Alright, are you ready? Okay, that's good to hear. So please open your textbook on page 196, and there you can find the essay ukiyo-e and, yes, the Impressionists. So please read the essay. Okay, yes, read it, and then while reading, please look for the answers to these questions. What is ukiyo-e? How is it used in Japan? For whom was it made for? Then describe its colors, describe its themes, and then you also have to answer the question, how were traditional European paintings used? For whom was it made for, or for whom were they made for? Describe its theme, describe its colors, and lastly, what similarities are there in ukiyo-e and the Impressionists? So please find out or look for the answers to these questions. Okay, so I'll be giving you 10 minutes to do that. Okay, you may start. Okay, now that you're done reading and looking for the answers to these questions, I'll be dividing you into groups of 4. So each member of the group will have different roles. So there will be the same roles which I gave you. So this time, exchange roles. So for those who were the transcriber last meeting, so you'll take the consultant role, and so exchange the other role. Exchange other roles. So do not take the same role that you took the last time. Okay? Now, please gather with your group before I tell you what you'll do with your group mates. Okay? Alright, now thank you. Okay, so now you're in your group. So this is what you're going to do. I'll be discussing the graphic organizer that you are going to use and in working with your group. Okay, so this is the graphic organizer that you are going to use and work with your group. So this is an example of a Venn diagram. So it's a graphic organizer that is used to highlight similarities and differences of things. Okay, again, similarities and differences. When we show or when we give the similarities of things, we are comparing. Okay, and then when we give or show the differences, we are contrasting. So we use it is very useful to use Venn diagram in comparing and contrasting ideas. So this is one example of a Venn diagram. So it is 2 overlapping circles. So you can also have 3, but in our lesson we only have 2 because we will only be comparing ukiyo-e and the Impressionists. So this part here, the first circle is for the ukiyo-e and the second circle is for the Impressionists. Now, why is a Venn diagram very helpful in comparing and contrasting ideas? Because it would help us clearly organize ideas, the similarities and the differences. Now, for the differences, what is particular only for ukiyo-e, you write them here. And then what is only particular for the Impressionists, you write them here. So this part here is the contrast part. And as you can see, the 2 circles are overlapping, and this part here, they share, right? They share. So this part here, this is where you're going to write the similarities of the 2, of ukiyo-e and the Impressionists. So here is the part for compare. Okay, compare, and then here contrast, and then here contrast. Okay, so with your group, you are going to discuss your answers to the questions that I asked to you while you were reading, and then using the Canva link that I will provide you. There are already labeled slides for you for each group, so that's where you are going to input your answers. Okay, so there are prepared Venn diagram for you for each group, so you just encode there your answers. Okay, all right, so I'll be giving you 7 minutes to do that. Okay, so please play your role responsibly, and remember, it's very important that in our group activities you cooperate with your group, so you'll have a better performance or a better output. Okay, you may now start.